Manang Esther, Manang Esther. Sit down, please. Sit down.
Afternoon everyone, Guam, Isaiah again with your news leader, and I'm here live at the Republican Party of Guam's headquarters in Tamuning, where a major announcement of the party's gubernatorial candidate is expected to be made. Joining me is Chris Burnett.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty major announcement. Isaiah, I'm sure you guys know the speculation with former Governor Felix Camacho making an announcement that he's going to run for Adelup. We're anticipating that's going to happen. What we don't know yet is who his running mate's going to be, and it's probably going to be one of these gentlemen that you see sitting behind us. We don't know yet. We're not going to steal the GOP's thunder. This press conference is just about ready to get underway, which is a little different from what we've grown accustomed to during the pandemic. We're used to press conferences starting really late, but former party chair Jerry Chrysostomos said Republicans start on time, so don't want to stretch it too much, as you can see they're right behind us and they're ready to go here.
All right, stay tuned to KM News as the conference will begin momentarily.
Right on.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and grab your seat. The agenda is placed on your chair. We are going to follow the agenda. At the end of the program, we will take questions and answers. So please wait until that time. The Republican Party of Guam Executive Committee meeting is now called to order. Mr. Chairman, we have quorum. Where's Lakeisha? The floor recognizes the first chair.
Mr. Chair, I move to new business.
The motion on the floor is to dispense with the agenda and move to new business. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by our National Committee woman, Michelle Gibson. There is a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? Without discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. By acclamation, the motion carries. The Executive Committee now calls the Chairman of the Republican Party of Guam, Mr. Juan Carlos Benitez.
I'm not used to carrying the mask when I have cold, so you put up with it. Respectable members of the media, Minority Leader Chris Dueñas, Honorable Senator Frank Glass Jr., former Chairman Emeritus of the Republican Party of Guam, Phil Flores, former First Lady Joan Camacho, Camacho-Ada, members of the Republican Party of Guam Executive Committee. Dear members of the media, due to the present COVID conditions, the rest of the Central Committee of the Republican Party of Guam are joining us today via the internet. This includes the rest of the Republican senators of the 36th legislature, as well as the Republican mayors and vice mayors and village org leaders from across our island. Together, we gather here today to announce the Republican Party of Guam's gubernatorial team for the upcoming 2022 election. And I cannot imagine a better person to do the introduction of our gubernatorial team than our own National Committeeman and former two-term governor, the Honorable Eddie Baza Calvo, a man whose energy, stamina, and lately hair growth appears to be unstoppable. Governor Calvo.
Beard. Anyway, first of all, I want to acknowledge all the members of the public here, and then also acknowledge again our good chairman, Juan Carlos Benitez, and all the officers of the Republican National Committee here in Guam for their tireless efforts that have led up to today. First of all, you folks may not have seen us for a few months or the past couple of years, but there's been a lot of hard work. And like I mentioned about the officers of the Republican Party, we've been working, and I'm thinking in a historic way, with our national counterparts in building the organization and infrastructure for the campaign that is about to embark for 2022. So we do believe that we have also a lot of resources available coming from the RNC that will assist in the campaign in both the gubernatorial, the congressional, and the senatorial race. But as we've been working towards this end, obviously there's been that one question mark that has still been left unanswered. And that question mark was answered to me, and again with a big relief coming from me about a month or so ago, and I had the opportunity to have lunch with Governor Camacho. And in that time, we sat down together, we talked about our histories of both him being governor for 8 years and myself being a governor for 8 years, and some of the heavy responsibilities that mean. And as we discussed that, we also understood, and Governor, I remember when you told me of your intention to run, actually my awe and astonishment, because I know, and there's not too many people who know how it is not only to run, but once you are graced and given the blessings by the good Lord and the people to serve, as hard as you thought that work was when you were running, the work begins in earnest when you serve the people in elected office. And for the governor and myself, it wasn't just 4 years, it was 8 years. And when he announced his intention to run, what I saw in him, first of all, was passion. Passion. And even more important with that passion, compassion. Compassion for the people of Guam. I think that's sorely needed, especially in these times today. So with that, I'm here to work towards a victory for this new team. Like I said, I've known that he was running. Just recently I found out who his running mate was, and I'm happy because I know that young man. He served as a legislator, and he served in my administration, and he served admirably and well for my administration. Both these two gentlemen, they served our island and they served our nation. And in these very, very, very dynamic times, if there's two men that I believe are capable for steering the ship of state of Guam in the right direction, it's Governor Felix Camacho, and I guess I won't announce his running because I want you to do it, Governor. But with that, I'd like to welcome and introduce the next Governor of Guam, Governor Felix Camacho.
Thank you, and please allow me to remove my mask for this short speech. I first of all want to thank my wife, Joanne, for being here. It's a sacrifice not only for me, but for her and her career. She's been a working woman all her life. I can't do this without her, so thank you. So the question has always been, why? Why would you run for governor again? It's been asked of me many times. But through the years, it's been, Felix, would you consider running again? And through the years, I'd always say, I'm done. I've served my 8 years. I publicly stated I don't want to go back again. But there comes a time and a season where for such a time as this, that you've got to make a call and you have to make a decision. I'm leaving the comfort and the safety of retirement and the joy of retirement, especially with my grandkids, for such a time as this. I believe to help restore, revive, and help our people for their welfare and for their best interest. You know, I cannot simply stand on the sidelines as I have for the years and watch what's happening on this island as our people begin to suffer. And I see businesses shut down, employees that are laid off, our freedoms and our liberties and every aspect of our life being touched by big government. I feel that this is a new season of hope, of revival, of restoration, restoration of freedom and prosperity. You know, the word fear, fear is paralyzing. And I believe that throughout the nation and the world, fear has been used by government to control our lives. It has compelled us as individuals to all cooperate and comply with government mandates and for vaccine or for masks, for social distancing, for isolation, for quarantine. Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's caused division amongst those that are vaccinated and those who are not. Whether you can enter a restaurant and eat, whether you can go to a public gathering, whether you can even be with your family and restrict to certain numbers. And this is not to downplay the fear and the danger of this pandemic, which we have been dealing with now for 2 years. But it is to point out that it's resulted in a lot of social ills, I believe. As I talk to many of my friends in the community, and here's an interesting thing, we deal with, I've been doing this on a voluntary basis for a couple of years now, but we have a group of men and women that would gather on a Wednesday and feed the homeless down in Agania by the post office under the old administration building. On Saturdays, we would then gather also and feed those in Tumuning, in Tumun, in Harmon, in Dedido, 70 to 80 meals a day on a weekend. And to see the plight of these individuals, the hopelessness, the despair, all the suffering they're going through, the lack of hope, it really has touched me so much. And so I ask myself, how can I continue to stand on the sidelines? How do I even have the right to complain? How do I even have the right to criticize? How do I have the right to even open my mouth and speak when I refuse to take the step forward and offer myself as a candidate? And so that's what this is all about. For me to run really required a lot of prayer and just separating myself out away, of fasting, because for me it's a real spiritual thing to do this. To again leave the comfort and safety of family and retirement and throw myself out again. One of the media said, you're a glutton for punishment. It is a tough job. It's not one that anyone can take. It requires a lot of sacrifice. But with sacrifice and service comes blessings. And I hope the blessings come to many of our people that are looking for that. And so I present myself as a candidate for governor. And along with me is, I'm really proud to announce Senator Camacho-Ada to stand by my side as Lieutenant Governor. Stand together. We stand together in one accord with the same vision. I know his heart and I know his family, even what they do. They serve people 6 days a week in their most difficult of times. I bring with me my experience as a two-time governor. I've served as a lawmaker, senator. I've been in the private sector. I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather. I believe I've been blessed with wisdom, understanding, discernment, insight. The island needs leadership. They need character. And with my faith in God, I believe that all things are possible. So I ask once again that you would trust me once again for such a time as this, when our people are crying out for help, that in this new season of hope and restoration, freedom will be restored. And you will have a choice. The people of Guam, the voters, will have a choice on leadership come November. I offer myself to lead this island once again, and I thank you for this opportunity. So now, may I introduce the Lieutenant Governor candidate, Senator Camacho-Ada.
Today and welcome everyone. I'd like to acknowledge my beautiful wife, Annette, my children, my grandson, Ryan, my very first grandson. You know, the governor is absolutely right. You know, we won't be able to be here today without the love and support of our wives, our family, because that's what makes it happen. But behind every great man is a strong, greater woman. And we are very fortunate to have strong, great women behind us, with us. You know, these are very exciting times, and I'm very excited because the governor has answered the call to lead our people. He answered the call. He could have stayed in retirement. He could have done nothing. And I asked him, I said, Gov, you know, why? He goes, Tony, I don't want to be 5 years down the road knowing that I could have done something, but because I was in my comfort zone, I didn't. And I think that's what this is all about. It's about getting out of our comfort zones and doing what we need to do and step up for our people. Because our people need leadership, and this is where leadership is at. Right here with the Camacho-Ada team. This is where leadership begins, and this is what we're gonna do for our island, is lead our people. Our people have been looking for leaders, and their leaders have not been around. I have full faith and confidence, and that's why I decided, yes, that I will run with Felix Camacho to be our governor. Because I know with Felix Camacho as our governor, and the Camacho-Ada team, Guam will see better days, and the better days are here to come now. Right. So please, ladies and gentlemen, come out, but it can't happen if you don't come out and vote. And that's what's going to be important, is getting our message out so people can come out and vote Camacho-Ada. Thank you.
I would like to now introduce the Honorable Senator Frank Glass Jr. to say a few closing remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Madam, take my lead. Okay. Mr. Chair, Uncle. Okay, Ken, I'm gonna get some money from you. Governor Felix, Ori. Okay. Lieutenant Governor Tony Ada. Sounds like a good ring. Now let's start this by, some time ago there was this guy who led a team to multiple championships. And then, decided to call it quits for a little bit. And then his talent was they sought after his talent. And he decided to come back. And he's gonna lead, and he led his team to victory. Talking about Tom Brady. Tom Brady. Michael Jordan. Okay. Michael Jordan didn't have a championship, but you're going to bring back the governorship. Felix Camacho is the Tom Brady of the Republican Party. He's a man that's got experience, the wisdom, the passion, the love, and the support of many people, to include me. Yes, let me just dispel the speculation in the rumor. Yes, I was planning on running for governor. Yes, I had aspired to run for governor. I sat down with Governor Felix one day at his calling, actually my calling too, so that we can talk about this, because one of the things we knew is that this island is tired of fighting. This island is tired of people going after each other's throats. This island is tired of just bickering. And I know this, and Governor knows this. And that's why I said, Governor, you run. Because in his running, and a little speculation as to what I'm going to do in the future, but it's still going to be in politics. Governor, we just added one more to the team. We brought back an individual with a proven record who knows how to lead a team to victory. Okay, you just added one more to our team, so Chris, we got to be now. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to say to you that this Republican Party, this party that is for the people, This party that understands the grief and the pain and the suffering of the people, most especially over the last 2-3 years. This party is here to help. This party is the Republican Party of Guam. And come January, this party is going to be led by Governor Felix Camacho, Lieutenant Governor Tony Ada, a Republican-led majority, and a Republican congressional candidate. Representative. And the way this is going to happen, the reason why this is going to happen is because this party is unified. We are unified. And we're going to speak, and we're going to fight, and we're going to win with one voice. Thank you very much.
If I may, I just wanted to add to this. The reason I wanted Senator Frank Blas here today is to honor the man, because we met and we agreed that if I decided to run, he would not run for governor, and we would avoid a party primary. And so to his credit, we're coming together unified in one team, and this is the opportunity I wanted to present to and honor Frank for his humility, but also he's a great teammate, and we just wanted to thank you and honor you, sir. Thank you. Okay.
Because this guy was going to be the lieutenant governor candidate.
So Senator, stay here. I cannot think of a better group if the four of you could go over and do the unveiling of the campaign banner for our 2022 gubernatorial team. Sure.
Okay.
All right. Okay, just pull it down a little bit. 1, 2, 3.
I do want to say though that the slogan is just a teaser. We do have a slogan, and it's going to be a new season.
With that, and before we go into question and answer, we would like to call former First Lady Joanne Camacho to join us and do a prayer for us. And we start this new adventure in our life.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for today. Lord, it's you that brought us all together. We ask you for your guidance, your protection, and wisdom to give Felix and Tony what they need to move this campaign forward. And we thank you for all the people and the support that are here and that are yet to come. Lord, it's important, Lord, that our people have a choice. And let that choice be Camacho-Ada. Lord, for all that you do, we give you praise, honor, and glory. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for the leadership you bring in these two men, and for the leadership of the Republican Party of Guam. We know that we need freedom and we need choices. In all that you do, we give you praise, honor, and glory, and thank you. Viva Camacho-Ada! Viva! 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 Viva!
With that, we're gonna open the floor for questions and answers. So just raise your hand, and I'll call you in so that you can ask the question.
Go, girl.
Maureen Maritita.
Thank you, and good afternoon. So, gentlemen, do you have a platform, and specifically, could you comment on any plans you might have for the business privilege tax?
So Maureen, let me start here. This is the party event to announce their candidacy and their run.
Okay.
The party will do their launch of their platform and at their own campaign event. We want to try to keep this one on the announcement of their government.
Okay. Thank you. In that case, why is it that you decided to go for governor rather than perhaps congressman, which was also something that was announced as a potential position for you if you decided to do that?
Yeah, definitely. I have run before for Congress. It was a consideration. But I felt the need of the people is more so here on island. We do have other candidates. I believe Jim Moylan perhaps is thinking about it. I don't know, there may be others, but I felt that the need for me, if God was going to use me, it would be here, because the need is here on this island. And I have the experience and wisdom of years to offer to the people, so that was my choice, to run for governor.
Okay. Nevertheless, I will still take any comments about general policy or philosophy that you may have. I understand what this is for, but I think my readers would be highly interested in any thoughts you have about policy.
Well, it all boils down to leadership, that and character. And I believe that that's what Tony and I both bring to the table, experience and wisdom. There are a broad spectrum of issues that we're faced with right now. And I believe the finances and the economy of Guam and of course how that affects the rest of the people is really going to be at the forefront. We still have the balance of this year to go before the next administration takes over. And a lot will happen. We have federal dollars in the bank, but what happens after that with businesses closed? And so there's going to have to be a reality check as to what are the true finances of the government, what is the true state of the economy, and where do we go from here? I believe people are looking for transparency. They're looking for truth. What is the truth in all this? And we believe that is what's required to bring forth, so that once we do an assessment and findings, we know where to go from there. It's going to require the entire community together, not just the government of Guam, but the private sector who employ the vast number of our people, a willingness of our people to get back to work again. There is dignity in work. They can't simply sit home and collect monies. Many choose not to work, but there is dignity in work, and that has to be restored. And so together, working with all sectors of our economy, we need to move forward. There are many people that are hurting out there. There are many people that are crying for help. The people I've spoken with that are out there on the streets helping these people say that our youth, which carries the banner of our future, are the ones that are really hurting. They say the youth may dress nice, they may have an appearance of happiness and boldness and courage, but a lot of them are suffering from depression. There's a lot of suicidal thoughts. There's a lot of hurting in our community that has to be addressed. And I think with all that's been imposed on our people over the last couple of years, all that will happen to our youth is going to become manifest over the next several years. And how do we treat and take care of our people and care for them? Aside from all the economic issues, there's a great need out there. So we're here to offer ourselves and find solutions, but we can't find it by ourselves. This is going to require a joint, concerted effort by all sectors of our community because it's affected all aspects of our life. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Marvin?
Hi, Governor. If you were the incumbent governor today, how would you have handled the pandemic? What would you have done differently? What gaps would you have filled in excessive measures that you might have?
Well, the pandemic and this COVID-19 issue, as you know, has been evolving. When you look at what's happened in the United States and what's happened globally, the United States is pretty much, or Guam has pretty much followed the narrative and game plan of the Biden administration. I can only look to what other states have done and that have done very successfully. Red states, such as California, with Governor DeSantis. We look at, in Florida rather, Texas, of course, is another one, and then South Dakota with Governor Nome. Governor Abbott, I believe, is the one in Texas. Yeah. So there have been a lot of success stories where they've been able to manage the situation, keep the economy alive and people employed. But I believe this administration has chosen to follow the narrative and the game plan of the Biden federal administration and government on how to handle this. I cannot second guess, and I do not want to second guess the governor and lieutenant governor as they considered everything, as I was not in their seat. There's always a lot of issues and factors to consider in making decisions, and so in hindsight, it's difficult to say what I would have done, because I was not in their seat at that time as things begin to evolve. It's a moving target, but I still feel that fear has been used as a tool throughout the world to compel the citizens of nations and countries to follow the narrative and the directive of government, saying comply with us, follow the science, and do what we say and everything will be okay. It hasn't proved to be the case. And so there's a real reality check out there that they say follow the science. Let's look at what's really been happening and the efficacy of vaccines and masks and all these other things. I still feel that we need to restore the freedoms of our people. We need to live, we need to breathe, we need to, as human beings, we need to be together. Yes. We are social beings. We are not meant to be separate, which has led to many social issues, and people are hurting. So I'm not here to second guess the governor's decisions, because I wasn't there to deal with the issues. But I can only again say that look at what other states have done, Florida, Texas, South Dakota, just to name a few, and look at what other states are doing now, even blue states. California removing the mask mandate. Who would think? And other states that are moving along those lines. And so there's a lot of work ahead, a lot of tough decisions to make, but with knowledge and understanding and trusting physicians and their patients and those that are that have comorbidity, they may have secondary health issues. Let's look at that and how to deal with that and treat them effectively.
And trusting our people also to know and to do the right thing.
Correct.
And I think our people, what has been happening is that our people have not been given that benefit of the doubt to do what is right, to do what they need to do to protect their families, to be safe, to be healthy. All this has just been mandated on them, and I think that now we need to move away from the mandates as time moves on and start giving our people that choice, that freedom to do what they need for their families. Because government cannot always be there for them, and they're the ones that needs to provide for their families, and we need to give them the means to provide for their families.
Next question.
Governor Camacho, just so I'm more concretely understanding what you just answered, if elected, would you remove mask mandates, verification of vaccination status, social gathering limits? I'm just trying to understand the contrast if you were elected.
Oh, certainly those are matters that I would take a look at. But remember, we're just in February. What will the governor do over the next several months as we head into the end of the year? So I'm not going to second guess her. Would she do such things? But had I had the choice now, I believe people need the freedom of choice, and of course, working with their physicians and understanding all the safety protocols, give freedom back to our people and liberties to make that choice, and establishments to also determine how many people should we have. Can we allow vaccinated and unvaccinated into our facilities? People need, and businesses need that freedom of choice, which has been taken away from them, and therefore has affected every aspect of our lives. You know, that has caused division.
During your final State of the Island address, you mentioned that one of the things you wanted to be your legacy was changing the name of Guam to Guahan. I wanted to know if you would still pursue that change and what other unfinished policy initiatives you would pursue if elected.
Well, it's interesting, although I did state that at that time, you can see whether it's official or unofficial, many have used the name Guahan. And that's a matter I think that would be brought up in due time. Yeah. But it's respecting our history and our culture and our identity that we should call ourselves as we so fit, not adopt a name that has been given to us. That was the thought back then.
How would you prioritize the spending of the American Rescue Plan funds?
Again, these are details that we'll have to address in due time as we lay out our platform.
How would you introduce yourself to new voters who aren't familiar when you were governor and your accomplishments?
That's going to be all part of the platform as we roll out our campaign effort. Yeah, there's a lot of millennials now, a lot of young people out there.
You know, Governor, we're seeing a lot of states that are also feeling the effects of receiving surplus funding as a result of federal dollars, and we even unemployment that has poured money into this island, and they're actually looking at cutting taxes, fees. Is that something that you'll seriously look at to help the people of Guam get through this economic hump?
Well, lawmakers, you wanna deal with that, Tony?
Well,
I can jump in.
My Republican colleagues have always tried to do what we can to help our people. We've introduced many measures this past term to reduce BPT, to look at our liquid fuels tax. I mean, just everything that we've been doing to try and get every penny back to the people, and so far it's failed because we did not have the votes needed, or even the committee chairs to report out the bills so that they can be voted upon by all 15 members of the legislature. Those are the things that we're going to continue to do in this term, and we're hoping that they will see that the effects of what's happening. Government is not in the business to make a profit. Government is in the business to serve the people. And currently with the BPT at 5%, they are seeing a surplus for the past 2 years now, 3. So, they need to give that money back to the businesses, because it's the businesses that are keeping this government afloat. And the more businesses that we lose and that close, we are no longer going to be able to support that tax base that we need.
Chris Barnett.
Gov, I wanted to ask, how much of a challenge do you think it's going to be for your campaign to compete with the $400 million that Governor Liu and Lieutenant Governor Josh have in ARP funds sitting in the bank, and then the untold millions more that they've been able to fundraise since right after they took office? Do you anticipate that being an uphill battle for the Republicans?
Well, I think that there will probably be a primary in the Democratic camp as they head into the general election. What amounts of money will be raised between now and then, and what amounts of money would be spent will be seen. I liken this to David versus Goliath, and it took a single stone to bring the giant down. And so, money isn't everything, Chris. You can't buy the hearts of the people with money. You have to win the hearts of the people, and that's what we intend to do.
Do you think where do you think we should build a new hospital?
Is there an answer to that, sir?
No, there's a next question.
Oh, excuse me. Joe Taitano, Pacific Daily News. Governor Camacho, you said you want to take a proper accounting of Guam finances. Can you talk a little bit more, like broad strokes, what you think needs to happen in that field?
Well, right now, that's certainly one of the tasks of the legislature, as the governor would typically submit their budget request and it would be voted on for the upcoming fiscal year. I think you're in the process now.
Yes.
And so you're going to hear, for the sake of politics, certain departments and agencies paint a rosy picture. It is the campaign season. But, and that's why I believe that findings are extremely critical moving into the next fiscal year, to see how much of it is really propped up by federal dollars. What are the amounts of money coming in with local businesses? Taking into account the fact that many have been shut down, and where are we at, where you can then make a true assessment on how to proceed forward budget-wise and expenditure-wise.
And we're coming up on something like $1 billion budget next fiscal year. How do you feel about,
What's interesting, when I was inaugurated in 2003, we had just come out of a Chata'an in 2002 in July, and then December 8th of 2002 was Hong Seong-Wah. The budget we took over, when we took over, was $396 million. The governor, Calvo, has been able to build that through the years. And by the end of your term, what was the budget, Governor?
little under 900.
Under 900 million. And so now we're at $1 billion. So,
But I just want to caveat that 900 million came from local monies. And right now, this money's coming in from the federal government is unprecedented. You know, I think maybe since the reconstruction of Guam after World War II, where you would see this type of federal infusion of funds into the island territory.
And as Senator Blas mentioned, the United Front, are we going to see, have we kind of cleared the border? Are we going to see the Republican Party united under one banner?
we are.
We have one last question.
Yeah, Governor Camacho, I did want to ask specifically because you're targeting sort of the fiscal finances of this administration. I'm just noting that there's a couple of former members of your own cabinet or senior staff that are currently advising the governor, including Bertha Dueñas, Lester Carlson, George Bamba. I'm wondering whether or not just their, or I guess Lester and Bertha specifically, their involvement in the governor's budget process brings any credibility in your eyes since they were former members of your team?
I believe Lester was at GIDA at one time, and Bertha was certainly there as the chief fiscal officer. So they're definitely talented people. They know the job, but I'm not here to question their credibility or at all. It's simply they're going to report the numbers. I think numbers should be in black and white. Numbers don't lie, and so that's what we need to determine exactly where is it. But currently, that's the role of the Guam legislature. And so there we have it.
And I believe the budgeting process is led by Steve Guerrero, who may have been involved also in your administration's financing plans?
Steve at one time was with BBMR,
yeah.
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Just one last question.
Yeah, Marvin.
Okay.
We'll finish with it. This is the last question.
Okay.
We'll finish with it.
Just going back to his question earlier, how are you going to introduce yourself to the new voters? What was the crowning glory of your 8 years in office?
Well, again, this is all part of the campaign strategy that will be worked out. But certainly, nowadays, social media is one that many of the millennials relate to. So we have to use all mediums in order to get our message out and our introduction to all sectors of our community. And the key is for the young, as you say, that may not know of me, or more so me than Tony. It's interesting that they are the very age group of my children and nephews and nieces, and so they have a special networking and a special way of getting word around. But the key is to get them involved. See, many of our youth do not vote. I think we had the lowest voter turnout in the last general election. And so there's a need to get the youth involved because, as I mentioned, they hold the banner of the future. And if they want righteous government, if they want fair, trusted government, if they want leaders that they can relate to, then they have to get out in the process and vote. They have to make the difference.
With that, thank you for coming and attending the announcement. I would like to close. The Guam that we have today is very different to the Guam that we had 3 years ago. We have over 30% of our population is now receiving food stamp. Over 50% of our workforce is unemployed. Over 95% of our tourism industry is closed. It is time to change in direction. We really need to look at our economy and figure out how we can survive. And I think the only way that we're going to do it is by coming together as a party, as an island, as a people. Yeah. So with that, Viva Republica! Viva! Viva Camacho-Ada! So I entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman. And second? Second? All those in favor? Aye.
Excuse me. How's it?
Okay, here you go.
Who are you? Stand on tiptoe. Wait, one more. Two more.
Yeah, I want to see.
Stand over, Chief. Just a little bit.
Just keep scrolling, keep going. Okay, who wants it first? Since they added.
No, go ahead.
Chairman.
I'll just take next to you. I'll do that here. They're calling you. Oh, you're fine. They're calling you out there.
Phil Flores.
Oh, that was a call.
There you go. There must be a fundraiser.
Joanne.
Ready?
Let me out.
Okay. We're good.
You're good.